Imagine a person sitting at their kitchen table, late on a Tuesday night, staring at a bank account that seems frozen in place, despite years of working and saving, and doing what they were told was the right thing. They have a steady job, they pay their bills on time, and yet every month feels like treading water, never moving forward, never falling behind quite enough to trigger an alarm, but never gaining traction toward real financial freedom. This is not a story of laziness or bad luck. It is a story of invisible forces, behavioral wires crossed deep in the brain, pulling people away from wealth without them ever realizing they are being pulled. To understand why these mistakes happen, we have to look at how our brains evolved on the savannah, where food was scarce, threats were immediate, and the future was too uncertain to plan beyond a few days. The first mistake is hyperbolic discounting, valuing an immediate $50 today more than $120 in 1 month. And when scaled across a lifetime, the cost becomes staggering. $50 a month spent on takeout coffee instead of invested at 7% becomes over $100,000 in 30 years. Not a cup of coffee, but a down payment on a house. The second mistake is loss aversion, discovered by Kahneman and Tversky, that losses hurt up twice as much as gains feel good, leading people to hold losing investments too long, or avoid investing entirely. The person who stays fully invested through the 2008 crash doubles their money by 2013, while the person who sells at the bottom locks in losses and never recovers. Yet the fear of that temporary drop keeps most people stuck. The third mistake is mental accounting, treating a tax refund like free money while carrying credit card debt at 22%. Effectively paying a 21% penalty every single day just to feel the comfort of a savings account. The smart move is to break down the mental walls and use savings to kill high-interest debt immediately. A guaranteed return higher than almost any investment. Yet the brain resists because emptying a savings account feels like losing security. The fourth mistake is present bias mixed with status quo bias. The belief that tomorrow you will start saving, but today you have a good reason not to, and the math of delay is unforgiving. A person who starts investing $200 a month at age 25 has roughly $700,000 by 65, while waiting until 35 cuts that to $340,000. A 10-year delay cost more than half the final portfolio. The only way to defeat present bias is to automate every possible financial decision, setting up transfers that happen without conscious choice. Because once a behavior is automatic, the brain stops arguing with itself. The fifth and most subtle mistake is the narrative fallacy, weaving a story that preserves self-image as unlucky rather than wrong. But the math does not care about your story. If you pay late fees, that is a mathematical penalty you chose by not setting up automatic payments. If you buy new clothes on credit instead of used with cash, that is an interest rate you are paying for the privilege. Stop asking why you are poor and start asking what specific behavior you can change today that will show up in your bank account 30 days from now. Because that shift from global blame to local action is the real climb out. You do not need a higher salary or a lucky break. You need to recognize that your brain fights you in predictable ways, and by designing your environment so the easy choice and the smart choice become the same thing, you can climb out one small variable at a time. The person at the kitchen table does not have to stay there forever, but they have to stop making the same 5 mistakes first. And that begins not with a dramatic overhaul, but with the quiet, calm, analytical decision. Not a dramatic overhaul, but the quiet, calm, analytical decision to understand exactly how the trap works, and then to build a single ladder out, one rung at a time, one automatic transfer at a time, one refrained impulse at a time. And that is how you stop treading water. Not by finding secret money, but by understanding the hidden wires in your own brain, and then quietly, patiently, mathematically, building your way out. So let us quickly revisit the 5 traps, because knowing them is not enough. Recognizing them in your own daily choices is where the real work begins. Trap number 1, hyperbolic discounting. The brain's love for a smaller now over a larger later, fixed not by willpower, but by automation that takes the choice away from your tired evening self. Trap number 2, loss aversion. The 2-to-1 pain ratio that makes you sell low and buy high. Refrained by understanding that volatility is not loss unless you lock it in. Trap number 3, mental accounting, treating your own money as if it comes in different flavors, solved by breaking the buckets and sending every spare dollar to the highest interest debt first. Trap number 4, present bias and status quo bias. The tomorrow fallacy that costs you half your retirement, defeated by setting up recurring transfers today before you can talk yourself out of it. Trap number 5, the narrative fallacy, the story you tell yourself about why you cannot change, escaped by replacing blame with a single measurable action you will take in the next 24 hours. These 5 traps are not character flaws. They are evolutionary features that no longer serve the environment you live in. And like any outdated software, they can be patched with the right systems. You do not need to be a different person to escape these traps. You simply need to design a different environment, one where the easy path and the wealthy path are the same path. So here is the question that matters more than any tip or trick. What is one financial behavior you will automate before you go to sleep tonight? Not tomorrow, not next week. Tonight. That single click, that one automated transfer, is the ladder rung you have been waiting for. Not because $20 changes your life, but because the act of starting changes your identity. Once you see yourself as someone who automates, who reframes loss, who breaks mental buckets, the old traps lose their power over you. And that identity shift is not motivational fluff. It is a mathematical certainty, because behavior repeated becomes habit, and habit compounded becomes destiny. Let us look at the math of one small change. $20 a month automated into an index fund at 9% for 40 years. That is $93,000 from a coffee cup size sacrifice. But only if you start, and only if you do not stop when the market drops. The person who stops during a crash locks in the loss. The person who keeps buying through the crash buys shares on sale, and the math favors the second person every single time. That is the difference between understanding loss aversion mathematically and being ruled by it emotionally. And that gap is where wealth is built or destroyed. Now, let us talk about mental accounting one more time, because this trap is sneaky. It makes you feel responsible while keeping you stuck. The math is simple. Any dollar earning 1% interest while another dollar costs 22% interest is a mathematical absurdity. Yet millions live this way every day. That action, transferring savings to kill debt, generates a guaranteed after-tax return equal to your interest rate, something no stock market can promise. And yet, the brain resists, because emptying a savings account feels like losing control. But control is not a number in an account. Control is the freedom from paying interest to banks. The 4th trap, present bias, is the most expensive because it steals time, and time is the only non-renewable resource in personal finance. Every year you delay investing cuts your final nest egg by a factor that compounds against you, and the math is brutally unforgiving, even at modest returns. A 25-year-old who invests $200 a month ends with $700,000. But a 35-year-old investing $400 a month still only reaches about $600,000. Double the savings for less outcome. That is the price of the tomorrow fallacy. Not laziness, but a psychological discounting of your future self that your present self would never accept if you really felt the weight of those years. The fix for present bias is not more motivation. Motivation is a feeling, and feelings fade. The fix is an automatic monthly transfer that happens while you sleep. That is the difference between hoping for discipline and designing for it. One depends on your mood. The other works regardless of how tired or stressed you feel. The 5th trap, the narrative fallacy, is the one people defend most fiercely, because letting go of the story feels like losing your identity. But the story does not serve you. It only protects you from the discomfort of admitting that you had agency all along. And that admission is actually liberating, because if the system is rigged but you still need to eat, the only question that matters is what you can do within the system to improve your own outcome. That is not naivety. That is practical mathematics. You cannot control the system, but you can control your late fees, your interest payments, your automation settings. And those small controls add up. Each late fee avoided is money you keep. Each percentage point of interest not paid is money that stays in your pocket. Over 10 years, that is over $8,000 just from not paying late fees and unnecessary interest. Money you earned but gave away by accident. Now, imagine if you invested that $8,000 instead of spending it. The exponential growth would turn it into something much larger over a lifetime. That is the hidden math of behavioral finance. The money you keep by avoiding traps is just as powerful as the money you earn from investing. So let us return to that person at the kitchen table, the one staring at the frozen bank account, because that person is not broken and their situation is not hopeless. That person just needs to understand the invisible wires to see that their brain is playing a game with rules written 10,000 years ago, not last week. And once you see the game, you can choose to play differently, not by fighting your nature, but by working around it with systems that make the right choice automatic. This is what wealthy people do intuitively or by design. They do not have more willpower, they have better defaults. So start with one default, one automatic transfer, one bill on autopay, one subscription canceled, one debt paid from savings. Do not try to fix all 5 traps at once. That is a recipe for overwhelm and failure. Pick one and build a system around it this week. Once that system runs without thinking, move to the next trap. Layer your defenses like compound interest for behavior. That is how you climb out. Not one heroic leap, but one small system after another, each one freeing up mental energy for the next. And here is the secret that the financial industry does not want you to know. You do not need to be rich to start. You just need to start. The amount you start with is almost irrelevant. The habit of starting is what matters because habits scale and amounts follow. So tonight, before you go to sleep, open your banking app and set up a recurring transfer of any amount, $5, $10, whatever feels painless. That 5-second action is more valuable than reading 100 finance books because it changes your behavior instead of just your knowledge. Knowledge without action is just entertainment. And the financial entertainment industry makes billions keeping you informed, but stuck. The person who takes one small action tonight is already ahead of the person who waits for the perfect plan that never comes. So let me ask you directly, what is the one financial behavior you have known you should change, but have not yet automated? Not what you should do in theory, but what you will actually set up before you close this video, because that is the only question that matters. And if you are thinking that $10 or $20 is too small to matter, you have already fallen for the narrative fallacy that only large actions count. Small amounts automated beat large amounts attempted, because attempted usually means forgotten, and forgotten means zero. So here is your calibration for the week. Pick one trap, name it out loud, then build the one system that makes that trap irrelevant. Do not try to change your psychology overnight. Just change your environment so your psychology has fewer opportunities to mess things up. That is the ultimate masterstroke of behavioral design, not becoming a different person, but making your current person's worst impulses harmless. And the beautiful irony is that once you automate, you stop thinking about money so much. And when you stop obsessing, you make better decisions. That is financial freedom, not as a number, but as a state of mind. The freedom to think about other things because the machine runs without you. So let us end where we began, at the kitchen table. But this time, the person is not staring at a frozen bank account. They are closing the laptop, going to bed, because tomorrow the system runs itself, not because the problem is solved, but because the solution is now on autopilot. And that is the only way ordinary people build extraordinary wealth over time. You will still make mistakes. You will still feel the pull of the ancient brain, but the damage will be contained because your systems will catch you. And over time, the mistakes become smaller and rarer because the systems retrain your brain, and the ancient wiring slowly adapts to the modern world. That is not science fiction. It is neuroplasticity. The brain changes with repeated behavior, and you get to choose which behaviors you repeat. So here is the final truth. You are not broke because you are lazy or stupid. You are stuck because your environment and your evolution are misaligned. And the alignment starts with one automatic transfer tonight. not because it is enough, but because it is the first gear in a machine that will eventually run your entire financial life while you sleep. So open the app, set the transfer, and then close the video. You already know enough. Now you just need to start.